Since the Industrial Revolution, human activity has pumped enough carbon into the atmosphere to raise average global temperatures by nearly 1.5 degrees Celsius. The children growing up right now did not build these factories or burn the coal, yet they are inheriting a compounding disaster that will dictate the terms of their entire lives. Dangerous outcomes. But knowing the timeline doesn't make it easier. The sheer scale of the required global overhaul tends to paralyze us. When people are handed a massive, undifferentiated checklist of every single thing needed to fix the climate, the result is rarely mobilization. The result is apathy. Solving a global crisis does not require every single person to execute every single task. It requires individuals to take action that aligns with their specific psychological wiring. The systemic change we need actually relies on 4 distinct operational profiles working together: the innovator, the supplier, the influencer, and the doer. Finding the specific role that fits your temperament is the sharpest tool we have to cut through climate anxiety and start getting things done. Let's start with the innovators. These are the big picture engineers and system architects. Their job is to design the technological upgrades needed to replace fossil fuels entirely. The biggest hurdle these engineers face is intermittency. Wind and solar power are highly effective, but the wind isn't always blowing and the sun isn't always shining. To solve this, innovators are building the smart grid. This is a modernized electrical network that uses real-time data analytics to route power from generation nodes into massive battery storage facilities, releasing it exactly when and where it is needed. Innovators are mapping out the nervous system of a clean energy economy. But the best designs in the world sit on paper if no one writes the checks to build them. That is where the suppliers come in. Suppliers are the policymakers, corporate executives, and institutional leaders who control the financial and legislative resources. To make the smart grid a reality, suppliers must deploy the initial capital for construction. They also wield the authority to mandate new, stringent energy efficiency standards in local building codes. Suppliers physically construct the capacity for a green transition. They are the ones who approve and fund high-impact public infrastructure, from expanding mass transit lines to installing national networks of electric vehicle charging stations. You can fund all the charging stations and electric grids you want, but suppliers cannot force a culture to actually adopt these changes. For that, you need the influencers. These are the culture shapers. They use sociological data to reduce social friction and normalize new, sustainable routines for the public. This animated bar chart compares the carbon emissions saved by standard environmental advice against major lifestyle shifts. Researchers at Lund University found a massive quantitative gap. Common suggestions like recycling save only a tiny fraction of the emissions compared to high-impact choices. Influencers focus their energy on promoting the 4 choices that actually move the needle: adopting a plant-based diet, avoiding transatlantic flights, living car-free, and choosing to have smaller families. By talking openly about these choices, influencers remove the social stigma. They prepare the ground for the general public to make radical changes without feeling alienated. Finally, we reach the doers. These are the everyday people who execute the ground game, turning systemic plans and cultural shifts into daily physical realities. Doers interact directly with the innovators' technology. They install home energy management systems, software that monitors household energy use, and they sign up for demand response programs, which are utility incentives that reward users for lowering their electricity consumption during peak hours. They also take the physical steps to upgrade their immediate environments, packing attics with thick insulation and swapping out old gas furnaces for heat pumps, highly efficient devices that transfer heat from the outside air to warm a home. Without the active, daily participation of the doers, the modernized grid, the massive funding, and the cultural shifts remain entirely theoretical. They are the ultimate engine of the solution. No single profile functions in a vacuum. A smart grid fails if the suppliers don't fund it, if the influencers don't normalize it, and if the doers don't plug into it. They form a single working cycle. The most effective persuasion strategy doesn't end with an exhausting to-do list. It ends by defining the new bliss, the actual world we achieve when these 4 profiles lock together. We are aiming for a stabilized climate, a future where global temperatures level out, allowing natural habitats and complex coastal ecosystems to recover and thrive. The window to secure this livable future for the next generation is closing rapidly. The longer we wait, the harder the physics become. By identifying your specific operational profile, you stop being a passive victim of a warming planet. You step into your role, and you become an active architect of the future.